Tessa Manson.
I'm Joey DeMambro, and we will be discussing the pros and cons of the topic of animal testing.
Did you know that certain countries such as China and Russia make animal testing mandatory, whereas countries such as India and Norway have banned it entirely?
So, for a brief background of animal testing, it has been practiced for a very long time, where it dates back all the way to 300 BCE. A famous scientist, Aristotle, studied to learn. He used this study to learn of anatomy, physiology, and pathology, and that's from the source Hajar 2011.
Animal testing didn't start to come into the mainstream until the Industrial Revolution, and this was due to the fact that there were no regulations inside factories and what was put inside of them. So Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when he was president, enacted the Food, Drugs, and Cosmetics Act of 1938. This meant that any products created on the market needed to be tested before they could be sold. So companies needed ways to test their products that were affordable and quick. So this is when they decided to turn to animals due to them being readily available. So animal testing is the most reliable and efficient way to determine safety factors due to our extensive knowledge and use of it throughout the past few years in order to determine if they make the regulation mark.
Oh, different types of testing besides animal tests to observe and determine the toxicity of a product are more beneficial to not only the lives of humans, but also to that of animals. So, to begin my con section, although it's not the intent of scientists to cause direct harm to these animals that they're using in animal tests, it's a necessary evil in order to get valuable results from the experiment. Due to this, over 100 million animals die every year, according to Collins 2015. And some animals include mice, rats, guinea pigs, rabbits, fish, monkeys, and birds. They're placed in highly stressful conditions, such as being left in very small cages, forced to inhale chemicals, and they're not able to consent, so that ultimately leads to their misuse with those certain things. And some scientists may not even follow the guidelines of agencies that tell them what they can and cannot do in terms of the welfare of the animals. And even if they do, some animals like mice are exempt from these rules of agencies, so scientists can do whatever they choose to these animals in order to generate good results for their experiment. Furthermore, alternative methods are overall more accurate. So, for instance, diseases that are artificially induced are not the same as naturally occurring ones in humans. So therefore, it doesn't have a huge impact of the development of human health. According to Richard Klausner, he says that we have cured mice of cancer for decades, and it simply does not work in humans. Following that, the FDA stated, the Food and Drug Administration stated that 9 out of 10 experimental drugs fail in clinical studies because we cannot accurately predict how they will behave in people based on laboratory and animal studies. So this means that the suffering of animals is ultimately unnecessary because the results generated from those experiments just don't have a direct correlation to that of human lives. Following on this, things like skin allergy tests have been determined to be, skin allergy tests with animals have proven to be less accurate than that of alternative methods. For instance, skin allergy test on guinea pigs predicted 72% of human reaction, while the alternative method, cell culture, predicted a 90% of human reaction. Just following on that, skin irritation tests with rabbits predicted 60% of human reaction, but a human skin method, was 86% accurate. So lastly, animal testing is economically insufficient and just overall very expensive. In Europe, genetic toxicity tested proved to be extremely pricey, and one test for a sister chromatin exchange with animal testing costed $22,000, while an in vitro study, which is the study of a sample of human blood or tissue, costed only $8,000. Similarly, a cancer study with rats costed $700,000, while an in vitro study costed only $22,000.
So the first pro of animal testing is its reliability and easy access. According to Zerlo 2012, there are over 700 new chemicals being introduced yearly into the market, and this number is only increasing. And since we don't know the effects that these chemicals have, it's necessary to test them. So the unknown effects will cause health problems to public safety, including ulcers, rashes, and irritation. For example, a drug called elixir sulfonamide was introduced in 1937, and it added a sweetener chemical to it to make it easier to taste. This medicine started to cause people to be irritated and die from it due to a chemical within being used also in antifreeze. This chemical caused damage to the kidneys. So if this product was tested beforehand on, say, an animal, this wouldn't have happened. My second pro is that there are strategic treatment and regulations that minimize pain for these animals. A common myth is that a lot of the animals are treated poorly, whereas scientists have developed earlier endpoints, pain relievers, and veterinary care in order to combat this. So first of all, earlier endpoints use a smaller endpoint and a smaller amount of medicine or pain with the animal in order to determine the path that the chemical will take once even more is added. Secondly, the pain relievers are used so the animals don't feel any pain at all and they're comfortable during the testing procedures. And then thirdly, veterinary care is important to have on staff because it ensures that the animals are still being treated with respect. The veterinarians make sure that they are still healthy, they're getting the right amount of food and water, and they're living in clean, safe environments. And lastly, there is extensive knowledge known on animal testing since we've been doing it for so long compared to the new types of testing that are being created today. So if you want to create a new method, there's a multi-step validation process according to Lilima. There are six steps where each ranges from 1 to 3 years to get through and pass to the next. Where it starts off with multiple scientists developing the test to it being recognized by the scientific committee as accurate, and then the government approving because they are the ones who regulate the testing. So since we already have a way of testing that is accepted, we should just keep it the way it is because it is still accurate. And if we start to use these alternative methods, it will take longer for products to get on the shelves. So for example, if there's a disease that needs a vaccine created right away, it's easier to go through the accepted method of animal testing first instead of using an alternative process due to its shorter time and ability to get the product on the shelves and help as many people as possible. So in conclusion, animal testing is the most effective way to go amongst regulation and determining the safety of products. And since we have a method that already works, it's able to protect public safety because we know what kind of reactions and adverse effects are to be expected.
So overall, the suffering of animals is just not necessary, and animal testing has less of an impact on the development of human health than alternative methods. It takes about 4 to 5 years to obtain valuable results from an animal test, which could prove fatal to someone that's looking for an instant cure or a new drug that should be on the market in order to either prevent a disease or cure one that they have. On the other hand, alternative methods are more efficient and effective, so which does mean that more products will go on the market sooner and quicker in order to help those in need of new medicines. Overall, the abolishment of animal testing would end the suffering of animals, enhance the economy, cause a faster production of products going to the market, and animal testing is overall just outdated as new technologies are present in today's society, like cell cultures and human health studies, human skin studies that have a greater effect on the health of humans and advancement of the medical field. So that concludes our discussion on animal testing. Thank you for listening.